We begin this hour in France, where the economy there may be out of recession, but it's hardly out of the woods. Data on Thursday showed that the country's unemployment rate is back up to near record levels, 10.4% for the third quarter. Now, economists say that businesses are unwilling to hire because the economy remains shaky. France has managed so far to stay out of recession. It grew a modest 0.3% in the latest quarter, and officials expect 0.4 for the full year. That's not much by international standards, but France is a driving force in the Eurozone economy and a big reason that Europe is not currently in recession. So we're going to take a closer look at this unemployment rate, and as you can see, it has been an uphill battle. Before the global financial crisis, France had an unemployment rate near 7%, and it has climbed and climbed steadily since. The past 12 months showed a little dip, but a sharp rise back to 10.4% wiped out those gains, and it's now about the same where it was in the middle of last year, and that was when France was firmly in recession. And when we think of the French workforce, they think of the famous and controversial 35-hour work week. Business leaders hate it. Trade unions will want it to stay. And now the government is stepping in. Kate Parkinson reports from Paris.
Thousands of French bosses protested in Paris this week as part of a week-long revolt against government regulations and taxes which they say are crushing French enterprise. It is the first time employers' associations have taken to the streets since the 35-hour work week was introduced almost 15 years ago, and the law is still hugely divisive.
We are the only ones in the world, I think, to have that rule, that legislation of 35 hours. We said that it was a French exception, and it stayed here because no one else wanted it in Europe or anywhere else in the world, which proves that we are a little bit isolated on the 35-hour issue. It was introduced in 2001, so it's been almost 15 years, and ultimately no one, no government, has had the courage to go back on the 35-hour law.
In reality, for most French people, working for just 35 hours is nothing more than a dream. A Labour Ministry report released last year said French workers put in an average of 39.5 hours a week during 2011, which was only slightly behind the European Union average of 40.3 hours. But that hasn't stopped France's new economy minister from targeting the law. Emmanuel Macron said the 35-hour working week paints an image of France as a country that doesn't want to work. And he says, given France's economic challenges, the flagship law should no longer be considered untouchable. France's trade unions lashed back immediately and vowed to fight any attempt to tear down what they say is one of French workers' most cherished rights.
The unions are very opposed. The employers would like a miracle reform where they could make people work 40 hours while only paying them for 35. It would generate a very big reduction in labor costs. The problem, of course, is that the workers won't let them do that, and so it's a subject that is very contentious.
By openly criticising the 35-hour week, the economy minister, who is a former banker and very pro-business and pro-reform, has also triggered a fight with his own party in a sign that the government is facing an uphill battle as it tries to bring more labour reforms through Parliament. The head of the Socialist Party has said any attempt to try and weaken the 35-hour standard will not be implemented. Kate Parkinson, CCTV, Paris.